I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the whole Epstein thing, the whole conspiracy revolving him and the French guy who just apparently killed himself in prison a couple months ago, or maybe it was less than a couple of months ago. I don't know how closely you followed that, but that's something that I noticed, especially during the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell, is that there was so little coverage of it, whether it be on Twitter or anywhere else. There was just all these smaller, more irrelevant headlines popping up that were sort of bearing the whole Ghislaine thing.
Yes.
What is your
So
take on that whole situation?
one of my favorite colleagues that I've dealt with on some things a few years ago, Kevin Hall, he was one of the guys at the Miami Tribune, or sort of the Miami Herald Tribune, that forced the Epstein thing back into the public eye a number of years ago, I think 2016, 2017. He's one of the ones who wrote this big article that essentially forced the DOJ to go back after Epstein, even though they didn't want to. So I've had an interest in it for quite a while, especially because I wrote a tweet back in 2017. You know what? Never mind. I'm gonna skip. I'm skip off bragging. I'll just say I predicted some of this stuff coming about. But basically, the Epstein thing is the exact sort of thing that if you were to say to some reporters, to some average reporters, hey, I think there's a billionaire who he's hanging out with like very powerful people like Trump and Clinton, and with like major figures who've done it for years, and he has an island, and he seems to have a predilection for young girls, and was convicted, in fact, for having sex with an underage girl a number of years ago, and hangs out with Prince Andrew, and all these things, and maybe there's something there. That's the kind of thing, like, oh, that's a conspiracy theory because it involves powerful people engaging in pedophilia. There's other reporters who would be reluctant to go into it, or reluctant to even acknowledge it because they support either Clinton or Trump, both of whom were on that damn plane at different times. There's other reporters who just wouldn't understand why that's an issue. And there's a lot of reporters who, even if they did understand, and say, oh, yeah, wow, you're right, this is a real thing, they would be reluctant to be the ones going out and saying, oh, billionaire pedophile network, involving intelligence community and blackmail, because that sounds silly to the average civilian who doesn't know shit about shit. It sounds silly to other journalists and reporters who think that anything, who think they just know it all, who have it all, have the world figured out. And so it was tremendous that it was great this article came out because it forced the DOJ to do this, and this. And then, of course, the same press that had, outside the Miami Herald Tribune, outside these few reporters that I deal with and who are actually courageous and competent, they fucked the whole thing up. Epstein was convicted, he's put in jail, he's found dead. Immediately, you have the same outlets that allowed this shit to happen, or in some cases, like Vanity Fair, helped to cover up like Epstein, or other outlets that covered up, the what are the two brothers in Hollywood that started the Me Too movement? You have the same outlets referring to the idea that maybe he didn't kill himself as a conspiracy theory, and then of course later you have documents coming out, autopsies and all that. No, it's not a silly that happens all the time, and it's not a silly theory. It's conspiracy theory to want to look into. It's not. There's nothing. It is in fact a journalist's duty, if they're interested in this case and they want to write about it, to explore the idea that maybe Epstein was killed not just because another cellmate wanted him dead, but because a lot of powerful people wanted him dead. Because a lot of powerful people had been on his fucking island and on his plane, fucking little girls,
Mm-hmm.
probably being taped, probably for a purpose involving, let's say, a combination of U.S. and Israeli intelligence in order to blackmail and control those people. There's a number of individuals out there who would find that to be not worth investigating, even though a lot of portions of it have come out since then. Like there's tons of on the record people from intelligence, state, and all that. There's tons points to the conclusion that among me and my colleagues, when I say my colleagues, I'm talking about the people that I work with privately, in secure groups and so forth, who are journalists, academics, ex-whistleblowers, ex-intelligence, blah, blah. We can all talk about like these things without having civilians in the way being like, oh, that's, I've heard Alex Jones said something about that. I mean, it's wrong, like that kind of shit, So, no, it's pretty fucking obvious that Epstein, even aside from how he got all his money, was involved in a effort to a successful effort, for a while, no doubt, to compromise powerful individuals. That's what the Russians have been doing for years, what the U.S. has been doing for years. It's what sometimes I do for years, just not involving pedophilia little girls. You know, well, actually, I should take that back. Back in 2007, 2008, just like with the, the show Perverted Justice or Catch a Predator.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of us doing stuff like that back then. Some of us associated with Psychopathy Dramatica, where we, and people still do it. They pretend to be, young girls and all that. And as a proof of concept, as a test back in 2007, I did this and then tricked the perp, the pedophile, into calling my number, which turned out to be the number of the local Brooklyn, New York police station. And then I told them, look, you've just called that number. They've got that on file. I can send this to them right now, unless you do what I tell you to do. And what I told them to do was say, I like mudkips, which was a meme, 4chan meme. So now, had I been more interested in
wait. What made you want to do that?
Again, this was a test, proof of concept.
A proof of concept.
Yes.
Okay. So you basically you baited a pedophile into meeting up with you. He thought you were a underage girl, right?
Right.
And you met up with him face to face. And you fit and you
no, I didn't make it face to face. No, what I did
was
I told him, okay, yeah, you want to call me? And the number. That police station knows it got that call from that number at that time. And the conversation is logged showing that time. So I now have this guy's life in my hands because I could sit at the police station and he's going down. So alternatively, if I were, say, someone who wanted to build up a slave army of pedophiles in order to achieve certain ends, I could say, now, here's what you have to do. You have to do the same thing I just did to you to 3 other people.
Wow.
And then tell each one of them to do other people. And then down the line, when I'm ready for you to do your actual work, I'll provide instructions, relay them. And then, for instance, if they think I'm bluffing, I wouldn't go into. There are ways to to secure that. So anyway, so this is actually in my book. I write about this whole concept as a managed to illustrate that there is more under heaven and earth than is dreamt of in your philosophy.
Wow.
There are people out there, Rockefellers or Pentagon or private companies, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, other activists I've known, who think differently than the average person. And who have different motivations and different agendas. Some of us, like me, wants to expose powerful people and counter them and bring them down. The other side, they want to do something else. They want to rule the world under a global kleptocracy of technocrats, led by Peter Thiel and Elon Musk.